Hey, everybody, it's Kelly Jackson with the Signal, Not the Noise. I am coming to you this Sunday with what I thought was a very interesting piece of news that I guess I'm not seeing it proliferated across the news sphere necessarily. I just find it interesting that this even occurred and that it's being brought up in certain places. I'll read you the article. We will go through this really quickly and maybe try to figure out why on earth our government would even consider such a thing. So basically, this is the headline Scoop: US asked Israel for its Hawk missiles to send to Ukraine. The Biden administration asked Israel for the old Hawk anti aircraft missiles it has in storage in order to transfer them to Ukraine, three Israeli and U.S. officials told Axios. Why it matters. Israel has so far rejected most U.S. and Ukrainian requests to provide advanced and defensive weaponry to Ukraine over concerns that such a move could create tensions with Russia and harm Israeli security interests in Syria. Ukraine has repeatedly asked Western countries for such weapons to help it defend itself against Russian strikes. Between the lines, Russia holds enormous influence in Syria, but allows Israel to operate freely against Iranian activity there. Flashback. Israel purchased the Hawk system from the U.S. in the 1960s to defend itself against Egyptian and Syrian airstrikes. At the time, the Raytheon developed anti aircraft system was cutting edge technology, but in more recent years, Israel has turned to other systems, including the U.S. Patriot battery and its own Iron Dome and aero defensive systems. A decade ago, the Israeli military took the Hawk system out of service. A senior Israeli official told Axios about 10 Hawk batteries and hundreds of interceptors remain in storage in Israel. Behind the scenes, senior Israeli and U.S. officials said the Pentagon reached out to the Israeli Defense Ministry 2 weeks ago and requested the Hawk systems that are in storage in order to transfer them to Ukraine. A U.S. official said similar requests were made to several other countries that had the system in active service or in storage. Now, funnily enough, is that a word? Funnily? Funny enough, I haven't heard or seen any other articles that make reference to whatever those countries are that had that system in active service or storage. I've only seen articles that reference Israel. So, I mean, that could be just a complete lie, or it's just this is something that they're doing just to kind of create some controversy around Israel, which is what this administration tends to do all the time. The senior Israeli official said an Israeli Defense Ministry official told their U.S. counterparts there is no change in Israel's policy not to provide weapons systems to Ukraine. According to the Israeli official, the Defense Ministry official said Israel's Hawk systems are obsolete and can't function because of how long they've been in storage without maintenance. But the Israeli officials say that the response wasn't accurate. They stress that while the launchers might be completely dysfunctional, the hundreds of Hawk interceptors Israel has in storage can be refurbished and used. The Israeli Defense Ministry reiterated to Axios in a statement that the position of the Israel security establishment on giving military aid to Ukraine hasn't changed. Every request is being reviewed on a case by case basis. What they're saying. Earlier this month, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin gave a speech at an APAC leadership conference in Washington in which he hinted at the U.S. request to Israel for the Hawk missiles. But his remarks went almost completely unnoticed. In the speech, Austin mentioned how the Hawk systems helped Israel defend itself in the 1967 Six-Day War and the 1973 Yom Kippur War, also known as the October War. In quotes, now the Hawks are no longer state-of-the-art technology, but they can still help a besieged democracy defend itself, much in the same way that it did for Israel. We get what you're saying, but that doesn't mean that they're obligated to hand anything back over or feel some kind of association with the Ukraine against Russia, against enemy forces in the same way. It's just ludicrous. He added that the US is working with its allies and partners to provide the hawk capability to Ukraine. So essentially what Israel is saying, they've gone to Israel, they've asked Israel, "Hey, all of that old stuff that you bought from us 50 plus years ago. I mean, we know it's probably no good, but hey, could you just give it to us and then we could give it to the Ukraine?" What Israel is trying to say is, well, maybe it isn't any good. Maybe we are just, storing it for the sake of storing it. But if we hand it over to you and you give it to Ukraine and they do find some kind of use for it and it causes some kind of damage to, in any way, Russia, well, what kind of trouble do you think that's going to cause for Israel? Which is exactly, I think, kind of what they're trying to do. I mean, why else would they do that? And here is my other big question. Just right there in essentially the same sort of area, we walked away from $85 billion worth of equipment, weaponry, just about anything you could possibly imagine in Afghanistan. We walked away from it. We left $85 billion worth of weaponry and tanks and trucks and missiles and all of the things. Why are we going to Israel and hassling them for the 50-plus-year-old antiquated weapons that they purchased from us when really we already own that stuff in Afghanistan? And if we had any kind of testicular fortitude, we would just go over there and seize that and send it to the Ukrainians. If we really, really, really were worried that they needed it, wouldn't you think that that would probably be would be more useful to the Ukrainians? New stuff and lots of it versus really old stuff and just a little bit of it. That's kind of how I see it. So why are we doing this? It's all political. And in reality, it's all noise, right? What they really don't want us to be paying attention to are the things going on, like with the World Economic Forum and all of the things that those people have planned for our futures. They like to keep us busy focused on these sorts of items right here, where, it's all political. There's no reason, there's no use for those Hawk missiles. But the fact is, I love the way that Israel responded. Essentially, when they came calling for that old stuff, Israel told them to pound sand anyway. So just on the off chance that maybe that old stuff might actually either look like they're trying to harm Russia or it actually could. And they don't want the fallout from that. So they're not falling for it. And I think that that's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, that is what I've brought to you today. I'm hopeful that I can get back here and drop another video sooner than this video hit. It's been a busy week, but I appreciate all of you just hanging in there with me. And please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that the next time I do drop a video, you don't miss it. Again, this is Kelly Jackson with The Signal, Not the Noise. Thanks so much for sharing your Sunday afternoon with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.